Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Connecting Greeks podcast. I am Ari, one of your hosts. I am coming to you live from Washington, D.C. All the way up in my hometown of Boston is my co-host, my cubano, my main man, Foti Stamos. What's going on, Foti?
So Ari.
How are you?
Things are good. Weather is changing. Finally, the sun is out. It feels better.
Speaking of feeling better, we got our number one guy all the way over on the west coast of Los Angeles, Angelo Tsaroukas. Hi, Angelo.
Hi, Ari. Hi, Forty. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Glad to hear it. I think we're slowly rolling out of this pandemic. I think here in California we are.
Yeah.
And so I think hopefully we're gonna get back onto the path of normal. Because we don't know yet, So we're gonna do that. As you can see, my background today is the beautiful city of Montreal.
Yes.
Because it's not only my hometown, but our guests today are from La Belle Province and Montreal. Two very unique individuals. I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. They are true artists to the letter of the word. And their accomplishments there's so many to say, so I don't want to brag it up. But the reality is they run a music program for children. They've been featured Montreal Symphony Pops. They've been on CTV, CBC, Cathemerini. They performed in front of prime ministers. They perform in front of presidents. Children's books, CDs. I mean, there's so much if you go look at what so I'm going to introduce them because I don't want to give it all away in the intro. And I'm so happy to have them on the show today. Dimitris Ilias and Maria Diamantis. Welcome to Connecting Greeks.
Hi, guys.
Thank you.
So happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you, guys.
This is wonderful.
And I'm happy to have you guys on here. And just like Adi said earlier, his cubaro, Forti, and I'm proud to say this, that these are my cousins. So we're also related, but look, we're cousins. I'm not going to put all my cousins on this show because
Well, what if
you guys are. Go ahead.
What if you get phone calls after this segment that not all your
Oh,
cousins?
we probably will. It's like I get it all the time anyway. And it goes back to, Maria is a soprano. Am I right, Maria?
That's right. I
So
don't
she's
sound
a
like it
soprano.
right now. It's late in the evening for us.
Like,
I know we have a
but
4-hour difference, but
You're both, and Dimitri, like this is their combination is unique. For me, guys, it's like I've been at events where you've sung the national anthems in there's 3 or 4 countries: Greek, American, Canadian, and maybe Iceland, etc. But that's just the small thing of it. You're both award-winning composers, and I don't want to use the word you're entertainers, but it's like you create things. You've done. You make books and CDs and stuff, and you've been. What I was so admiring about the two of you, you've been recognized. 150th anniversary of Canada, you guys were recognized by Canada and by the province of Quebec for help and work you've done both for the community, which you got Filotimo, you give back, and that they recognize that. And this is with an elite list of people and artists, doctors and stuff like that. So this is good. This is the example that people want to know about. And I want to start off by introducing it. So now Chroma Musika, Dimitri, explain to us a little bit, because I don't want to butcher it. So tell us what you guys do so we know what's going on.
So our primary occupation with Maria, and the way we met actually, when Maria was the first person I met when I came back to Canada. She accompanied me she's a pianist as well as a singer, and she accompanied me on my entrance exams at Concordia. So in voice. So I'm a tenor and she's a soprano. It's the best combo of voices in opera. All the lover duets in opera are soprano and tenor. The baritone is usually the bad guy, and the bass is the cursed old man. So the soprano and the tenor are the young guys, you know, and they always have beautiful duets. So we are primarily operatic singers. But after a while, we found that just having a career in singing wasn't enough for us. We love children. We don't have children of our own, but we love teaching them. So we created Chroma Musika not just for the children, but created Chroma Musika initially to promote Hellenic classical music. And then eventually we branched out. I mean, we didn't stay within, Hellenism was the core of Chroma Musika's existence, but we branched out a lot. And when I mean we branched out a lot, initially we were doing operatic projects for Greek children in Montreal, Sokratitas, Scholia Sokratis. But then we started doing projects in English and in French with Greek mythology and Greek music, but involving kids from 60 different ethnic backgrounds. So as you understand, we wanted, and these children were mostly from disadvantaged areas, children that had never even seen a symphonic orchestra before. They got to sing with one. In order to sing with a symphonic orchestra, first of all, it's a very expensive endeavor. You need to pay over 50 musicians. So we wanted to give those children an opportunity that only the high-end children musicians could get. And that's through those projects we did, the project of the book CDs that you mentioned.
That
is so cool.
So guys, not just Greek, not just English. I forgot my French. They speak French. Multilingual programs.
Wow.
And you saw these kids and you gave them this opportunity that like you said, Dimitri, they probably wouldn't have. And that's where, and I know you guys, you didn't do it for the recognition, you did it to give those kids the experience. And what was so great about that is how that you were recognized for that. And we need more people in the arts. And I view you both as pure professional artists. You create, it's not just that you're both great singers, you guys create things, and you know, it's been recognized worldwide. I mean, and you've been featured all across Canada, United States, England, and Greece, and all these things. And I think it's funny because we're living in a TikTok age.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, these people doing all these blaquias, you know, TikTok. And then I'm like, you know, and they're getting, and it's right now in Hollywood, it's all about how many viewers do you have?
Yeah.
And that's where we're going now. Even me in comedy, whatever, it doesn't matter now how talented you are. What they're looking at is how many viewers do you have? Like a guy puts a hose up his nose and then water comes out of his mouth, and he's got like 50 million views. You know, well, this guy's brilliant. Guy's a malaka, right? And that's it. He puts it in. I was watching it the other day. But
well, it's all good.
everybody,
I mean, like you said, like you mentioned earlier, entertainers, musicians, music, first of all, is very diverse. So, and we need all kinds. You need entertainers, teachers, serious musicians, which entails classically trained producers. There's so many out there, and it's all good. We decided with Dimitri to stay into the classical side. Classical meaning anything having to do with classical music. Even when we teach children, we teach them classical training, meaning to sing without using a microphone. Don't do selfies. I mean, we're purists, you know, you're going to learn how to sing without, yeah, like you said, TikTok, no apps, no garage bands, no effects. So our studio, yes, we're fully equipped with microphones and whatnot. And we do love using, I mean, technology, of course, but we go back to the basics. So how important it is to introduce children to.
You see, Maria is less of a gadget person than me. That's why she says all that. But if I turn my camera, you can see my mixer here. So
there you go.
You know, so,
Yeah.
So I believe in technology as long as it enhances hard work, you know, in terms of music. So whatever Maria said is right in. And operatic training for singing is the best. Why it's the best? because we're freaking out when we hear opera and it turns people off because it's so loud and all that. But you have to remember those singers when opera started, and opera started because of ancient Greece, of course, because during the Renaissance, suddenly all of Europe rediscovered ancient Greece, and they went back, and the first operas are all ancient Greek themes. So why is operatic technique the best singing technique? Because back then they had no electricity. They had to fill up an entire 2,000-seat theater with a full symphony orchestra just with the power of their voices. And then how do you create a voice that does not get tired, that does not get husky by the end of it? By correct technique. And that's what we teach. And once you have a good solid vocal technique, then you can sing. Then it's a matter of style. You can sing any kind of music you want, whether it be jazz or whether it be Broadway, whether it be pop or operatic, you know.
It sounds like you guys are a very good combo, because as Maria was saying, she is a purist who teaches at the base level, which I think anybody, no matter what they do, should have. And you know the technology, you know all that stuff, and it seems like it's a good match and a good combination, and excellent for the kids, I would imagine.
Right, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, because of course nowadays what we offer is this technological knowledge which most singing teachers don't have. Because once we teach the kid the song, and they know the song well, and they are doing the right things technically, then they will go into our studio and record it professionally. Most singing teachers do not have that capability or the knowledge, because it takes a lot of time to learn even the basics, let's say, of Cubase or of Logic or one of those music production softwares. So yeah, so we do both. And
well, it's
then
important to record. I mean, recording. When I was a student, I would bring my, a digital cassette. So I don't even remember, this is way back, but anyway, and I would, of course, you record yourself sing, because you want to hear how you sounded, right? Because you can't hear yourself when you're singing, you can't hear yourself. So that's why you need a coach, or you record yourself. But before digital recording, everything was, the quality, was not high tech. So you hear yourself back, and everything sounded warped and distorted. So now what we offer the kids, well, Dimitri rather, I don't know anything about recording and technology and whatnot, but the kids get to hear their voices, but with top A quality, sound quality, right? That's the advantage.
Olivia, sorry, that's my daughter. Sorry
Hi,
about
Olivia.
that. See, talking about, sorry, Maria. That's Olivia's phone. It's connected to this computer.
It's okay, saved by the bell.
What
Yes.
So, and by
This
the
is
way,
what
he
happens
went,
when you work out of your house.
who's from what is Flotty's from Washington, or who's in
Ari,
We're both from Boston, but I currently am in DC.
and we love the city.
I-
We were there in 2010. We were invited by the Greek embassy for the Euro Kids Festival, and we represented Greece because it was the 2,500 years since the Battle of the Marathon. So
Oh, yeah.
we presented a whole program for children in Washington and about the 2,500 years, and we sang and we did a lot of games with them, musical games. So it was.
That must have been a great experience.
Yeah, it was a
yeah,
fantastic.
love
That's
that
a great
city.
honor to be invited.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, very much so. And when you were explaining, when the kids could sing and hear their voices in crisp, clear, nice audio. I mean, there must be a look on their faces when they hear this that must be like so like it feels so good for you guys that you do this.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Even the parents, they flip. They're like, "Wow, is that my kid?" And
Yeah.
and we keep it. I mean, we can add lots of reverb and whatnot, but we do try to keep it as Dimitri too does not. I said, "Oh, put a little more reverb," and I said, "He goes, no, relax. You keep it dry. He wants it dry." I'm like, "Oh, okay, we'll keep it dry with this."
Yeah, because we avoid using. Very rarely we will use plugins like Auto-Tune or something like that, because we think the children have to be able to sing in tune and perfectly on their own. Um, but it's fun, and teaching children is great, and especially now with the pandemic. We got a lot of private students because we cannot do choirs anymore, and that was a killer in the beginning of the pandemic. It really put a damper on our activities.
I was going to ask you, Dimitri. I was going to ask you about that because I know even with the camp that you do every summer, right? And because of the pandemic, and I hate to say this, but in Canada things are not very good right now. There's still a curfew in Montreal, and I know Toronto, Vancouver. There's another wave of COVID, which I hope the Perasi, because we were like that in California, and now we're rolling out of it. I think Canada's having issues with it.
We got our shots, Angelo, and now that we got our shots, you remember in the end of Indiana Jones, the first Indiana Jones, and the arc there. Remember remember the final scene when the Nazi's face melts? That's what I'm picturing. That's what I'm picturing. The virus when he comes into my body, happening. It was so destructive. It was so destructive because the choir was the first thing that was canceled. Because of the way it transmits, choirs could not happen, and choirs were our most important activity. We were both choir directors. We had 12 children's choirs from 12 different schools. And I will describe how one of the book projects works in general to see how many children we reviewed. So that was the first thing that went. And now, when we were in complete lockdown and we had to work with Zoom, that wasn't working great because there's a lag. So when you try to do music over Zoom, it doesn't work. You try to play piano, it reaches with a minute and a half delay to the kid, and the kid tries to sing back. The sound is distorted, it cuts. So thank God, at least we can teach one-on-one now. I mean, we can do our camp as long as there's distancing. But as far as choirs, I think it's going to be one more year for that, the way I see it happening, you know.
Yeah. Now, guys, let me ask you. So when it was, because I read about that, and I was very, when it was Canada's 150th birthday, and you guys got recognized by by Canada and by Quebec. For that was the part of the program that you guys were doing with helping those kids with that experience.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Now, was that something, did they ask you, how did you get involved in that? That was interesting to do that.
We started with the Greek books. We started with Greek, Montreal kids singing in Greek for a Greek publishing house, where the CD that accompanies the book has the opera inside. That grew a lot. And then at some point, I said, let's do something in English, but with a Greek theme, which was Persephone.
And it started with 25 kids.
Yeah, 25 kids. Now we have 450 kids in the choir.
Bravo. 150 kids. Bravo.
400.
400. Wow.
Yeah, this is one of the, once we started stopping the Greek projects, we kept a Greek composer, Yannis Georgandelis, who would also always write the music. And then he said, how about we find a Canadian author to write the next opera? So we went through the ones that had won the Governor General Award, and we chose 4 or 5 of them, thinking that maybe one will say maybe. And then after they saw what we're doing, they all said, yes, let's start. One of them, Glenn Huser, said he even sent us a script for the opera with the lyrics and everything. And he says, I'll bring you to my publishing house and let's get started. And that led us to to Vancouver. And the publisher said, well, you know who would be good to narrate this book? It would be good if Terry Jones from the Monty Pythons does it. Because they were neighbors in London. So we contacted Terry Jones, and then he narrated 2 of the books. And probably the Golden Touch, which is the story of Midas, probably was his last project, because then he was hit hard by dementia, and we lost him a couple of years ago. And then he narrated the opera, and we were very, very honored because we're both big Monty Python fans. And especially having Angelo in the family, being a comedian, makes it even more special to have the founding members of everything that has to do with SNL and all that. You know, it started
like all those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's funny, guys. We're at an event a couple of years ago, many years ago, and I didn't. Dimitri and Maria were there, and the organizer didn't know that we're related. So I want to tell them that's a cestizo. So they brought me over. And they go, hey, Maria, do you know Angelo? And I was like, yeah, we know each other. Really? How do you guys know each other? I go, her mother and my mother are sisters. Oh my God. She goes, so you guys in your family, you're all talented. I go, yeah, there was another cousin who's a trapeze artist, but it didn't work out for him. We're the 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Like,
Yeah, you missed the net by this much.
you missed the net. Fukarias, you know.
Yeah, it happens all the time when I say we're related. What? You're related? I go, yeah.
I get it all the time. And they're like, and it's so funny because you know, you guys, what they say in Hollywood or in Broadway, you put in your 10,000 hours. That makes you, and I know you guys have put in more than that. And that's, you know, guys, that is the essence, is when you put in that work. And what with all the changing, and we discussed that, you know, with technology and everything else, at the end of the day, you need talent, but you need the training and you need the commitment. And I know how committed you guys are and what you do. And I know you have patience, you work with people, and you try to excel with them to get the best out of them. And I think, do you find nowadays, I think, and this is my view of it, is a lot of people want to get noticed in any profession, but they don't necessarily want to do the work. And everybody tells me,
you hit
right?
the nail in the
Exactly. And that's what we teach.
Do you want to talk
too.
about this or me?
I don't know. Wow.
Well, this is as musicians, we see this all the time. American Idol, although having a lot of merits, started a trend where everyone who picks up a microphone and sings thinks they can become famous just by picking up a microphone. However, a singer alone, I was a violinist before I became a singer, and Maria is a pianist. So nothing teaches you musical discipline more than an instrument. Even if you do not learn how to read music, but the hours that you have to put in an instrument to learn an instrument is crucial for musical discipline.
Right.
A singer does not necessarily have that.
And I'll enter just a parenthesis. And singing was not a recognized instrument until 3 decades ago at
the university.
At the university level.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can imagine. So you want to go into music, okay? You got to pick up an instrument: guitar, flute, piano, and then. But later on, they saw singing becoming a trend. Okay. Then it was recognized as a serious instrument, but still, you're obliged to learn an instrument as a second instrument. So you had to pick up the piano. You had to learn the piano or the guitar. So right. Singing alone, because singing you're limited to learn music, right? So like think about a composer. He wants to compose a symphonic piece. He uses a piano to compose because it has the whole range of all the instruments, right? But yeah. So yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do with these big projects. We wanted the kids, yes, they sing in a choir, but they learn so much more through that. And I wanted to guide you guys through a typical project of those children book CDs, like the one I mentioned with the Monty Pythons. So basically, we choose the subject. The composer takes about 6 months to compose the music, because when he composes an orchestral score, he has to compose for every instrument. 1 line for the flutes, 1 line for the clarinets, the bassoons, the oboes, the trumpets, all the brass. Every instrument has its own line. So he finishes with that. We start pre-production by auditioning kids. So we go to the different schools we teach and we go, who wants to participate in the project? The last one, we had 450 kids. We did 2,600 auditions. We would close our eyes at night and we would see kids' faces singing in front of us. So 2,600 auditions, we chose 450 kids. And then we start teaching them all through the year the songs that they will be singing in the book CD. Because the book CD has songs by soloists like us, like professional singers, but they also have choir pieces that the kids sing. So we teach them the songs, let's say from September to February of the year. The whole project takes 18 months. Then in February, they have their first experience with the orchestra. We do a press conference where the orchestra, symphonic orchestra, comes in and the kids sing with the orchestra. That's the most amazing, heartwarming experience, to see all those children sitting in front of these professional musicians and hearing for the first time that feeling from the orchestra, which is not amplified. There is no electricity there. It's just drums, big drums, and cello and big like bass is playing, and that sound that hits you from the orchestra. We had kids cry from awe from their first experience.
Amazing.
Singing with the orchestra. Yeah, I remember Anthony too, you know.
Bravo.
And then
Yeah.
after that, they continue working. And then in March, we go into Oscar Peterson Concert Hall in groups of 100, because there's 400.
A legend, Oscar Peterson, legend.
Yes, Oscar Peterson, a
Yes.
Montrealer.
Yeah.
Legend.
So they
Yeah.
go into Oscar Peterson Concert Hall, and there we have Dr. Mark Corwin. He was my thesis advisor in my master's in music at the university, and he's a judge at the Juno Awards. So specifically when it comes to musical engineering. So he gets these kids in, they bring on their own headphones, they listen to the orchestra in the headphones, and then they sing the choir pieces in the concert hall. Then every kid gets a chance to go and see the mixing studio where Mark Corwin explains to them how production happens, how the condenser microphones work, how the mixer works, how we put together all the tracks, how we layer music. So they don't only sing, they learn everything that has to do with musical production.
Right.
Then we do all the mixing and editing. Summer, the publisher puts together the CD with the music and the narrator and the book. And then we do for them a massive launch, a red carpet event. We have a sponsor, all limousines, brings all the kids, they get dressed up in our Grammys red carpet event. They come in and their names are in the book, of course, and they sign their book because we believe they are co-creators in these projects. It's
Bravo.
a unique experience for them, you know. Yeah.
You know, guys, this is what the world needs right now. Just what you're just telling us right now. These kids will never forget this experience. You're not, like you just said, they're not just learning. You're actually taking the time to show them the whole process. That education, you can't buy it anywhere. And the fact that these kids feel so good about themselves. What's the most important thing nowadays with the youth is self-esteem. And
Yeah.
and I think what you got, you know, maybe indirectly you don't realize it, but what you're doing for these kids, for their self-esteem and net worth, it gives them so much confidence that they can, through music, they can do everything. And I think that's I think the problem, the misconnect that we're seeing now is that, because, and I say, like, I love social media and I hate it. It's the two things. The only good thing, like what we're doing now, is good because I find that what we're doing with our guests is introducing people of our heritage and background and allowing the world to see what it does. I think it's a good thing. And we have fun by doing it. But I think for a lot of people, it's like just what you were saying, Dimitri, the fact that you're showing them how it's put together. Then out of all the hard work they do, then you have a red carpet event for them and they sign the books.
Yeah.
And their families there and their friends are there. What a better feeling in the world, you know, and to you guys know that you're doing this and showing these kids and on what to do, because I know the commitment you both have done in school, and I know you never talk about it. You guys have gone, you know, you've dedicated your lives to music. Both of you have. And I'm so happy that you collaborate together, because I can't sing. So it has to be you and Maria.
Can sing. Anyone can sing.
Yeah.
It's like karaoke.
Yeah.
You know, I know, I'm on a cruise ship, guys, and there's always one Vlaka on the cruise ship. Oh, this guy's the karaoke king. And he goes up there with the karaoke and he's like the cruise ship superstar. And I'm like, okay, the guy goes up there, he sings the same song, you know, Feelings or something. it's just, but it's something I think is needed. And the thing that strikes me is that so many people know who you are. And when I do events, because they bring me in for comedy, and I'll do events, and they talk about you guys. And even when I'm in Canada or whenever, because sometimes I come into Montreal for a day and I got to leave because I'm going somewhere else.
I know we're
And then
missing each other.
right, and then my mom goes to most of your shows. So I got my mom, Pígame ida Dimitri que Maria, que tanto Omar fast in Ecclesia, and this and that, you know. And I get the updates from mom, right? Because she's proud of you guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I think what I'm seeing now, and I think the pandemic was a reset button for a lot of people in a lot of ways. It was a reset button for us to look at our lives and say, what are we doing? And I think at the end of the day, and I 100% agree with both of you, that the hard work and pure talent, that's what's going to stand at the end of the day. All the other stuff is, yeah, you get lucky sometimes doing certain things, or you get popular. So there's a difference between being an actual musician or actual singer or an actor or something, as opposed to being popular by it. Like you're popular. Like the one guy that was drinking Ocean Spray Cranberry on a skateboard. 100 million viewers, and all these idiots were walking around. I don't get it. I go, how did this guy get 100 million views drinking Ocean Spray Cranberry? And it was it a Fleetwood Mac song?
Yeah, the Fleetwood Mac song.
Oh,
Yeah, and guys, my PR person says to me in LA, hey, why don't you do something like that? I go, what? Get on a skateboard drinking Porto Calava? It doesn't make sense.
These things are like winning the lottery. Like, you cannot plan this out. You cannot ever say that this is going to be viral. It's just one of those crazy human things that you just get lucky when it happens.
right.
But I wanted to ask a quick question, if I could. You guys listen to so many kids singing. Has any one or multiple kids come across your trained ear and you're like, wow, this kid has something?
A lot.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, we got. First of all, it's two things that make a kid stand out. First and foremost, a real love for singing. We get kids that are pushed by their parents to come to the lesson, and then we say, okay, how about this song? No, I don't like that one. How about this song? No, I don't like this one. How about this one? No, okay, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I don't care. If you like anything, then you know that the kid really doesn't want to be there. But when you get a kid, you get a kid that you do throw Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, and they will sing it in a way that will make you cry, and you know that, okay, oh wow, this kid likes singing. No matter what you throw at it, he or she will sing it. And then, of course, we get those rare voices that are amazing, that they're trained, that me, for example, or Maria at their age never had that, where the voices have a nice vibrato. And I got my vibrato when I was 21. Much later, these kids have it when they're third graders. So it's like.
Not only, and let's not forget, we've evolved, right? Meaning, when I was a teenager, I didn't have singing lessons. Like I said, the trend happened just recent. So you're getting 10-year-olds with kick beep voices, So they're getting awesome training at such a young age. I didn't have a range. I didn't get a big range until I was in my late teens, and I have kids getting a big range now at an earlier age because of training. So
you can imagine our pride when these kids do go into music, and we have quite a few students that have even gotten even higher degrees than us in McGill University in operatic singing right now. And there's one of our students that was in multiple tours with Kadziani, and she sang with and did a career with him in Greece. And then it's great to see them, because we know they're succeeding because we saw that spark when they first started.
Or not necessarily singing. I mean, just even musical
instruments.
Musical instruments. We have Anthony
Jeremy. There's a lot of kids that are clarinetists that have gone into orchestras because they were involved in the projects. Yeah, exactly.
Singing, and they come up to us and say, "Thank you for exposing us to music."
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean, it's very nice of them, but I said, guys, it's your hard work, it's your love for it. So.
But for example, us, we always feel that we like a lot of different stuff, and that was the reason. Like going back to Angelo's original question about Chroma Musika, we organize a lot of concerts, not always with kids. Like we did one with ancient Greek instruments. One of our first concerts was with ancient Greek instruments and ancient Greek music, which was decrypted not long ago for the first time. There's actually 70 pieces that survive. And the first one was on a column, Yastili, in Asia Minor, where the Turk had to put his glasses on, and then archaeologists just stumbled upon it, and there was actual ancient Greek notation, and now we know how ancient Greek music sounded like, and that led us to a lot of other stuff, which I'm going to reveal something that's very untypical for operatic singers. We are far from the culturally thing. Maria and I are avid video gamers. So one of our biggest dreams came reality recently because we both.
I was going to ask you about this.
Yes. We both.
Tell us about it. I was going to ask you, but you got to go ahead.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it because I'm a gamer, so I couldn't help but bring it up. Because we were asked by Ubisoft to do musical production and direction in Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
How dope is that?
So
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. So in Assassin's Creed Origins, Maria wasn't involved in that one. I was hired.
It was all men.
Yeah, because it takes place in Cleopatra's time when it was all Grecian in Egypt, right? There's Greek temples and all that. So I was hired to do singing of Greek anthems that you hear when you walk into a Greek temple. So, and at the same time, I supervised recording of ancient Greek instruments in Athens that was then transferred to Ubisoft, that is used in the world music when you walk around Alexandria, like you hear ancient Greek music in the streets, and that was I supervised the production of that. And then I also sung, like I said, the chants. So when you go into an ancient Greek temple in Alexandria, you hear the music chanting in ancient Greek. That's me. So of course, the first thing I did when I played the game is of course it's very violent, Assassin's Creed, right? So I found the guy that was singing with my voice, and I just killed him. I just hacked him to pieces, And then Odyssey in the next one, which was all in ancient Greece, and a lot of Greek actors from Montreal participated. I think Apergis participated in that one as well, and many people from Montreal, since Ubisoft is in Montreal. There we had an even bigger role. Maria did all the demos for them, and teaching the singers that we're going to sing inside the thing. I chose the two choirs that were going to sing all the sea shanties and the trireme. So when you're in the boat and the naftis are singing in ancient Greek, that's all my production. That's all Chroma Musika. So
very cool.
Yeah. So we were very proud of the Assassin's Creed thing that was happening,
And that's a big game. That's a huge game.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that play. I mean, when you hear something like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty or what's the other one there with the car? What's it called?
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, but I mean,
or in LA, they call it Tuesday.
So these video game releases are on the level of like blockbuster movie releases. I mean, they're a huge ordeal. That's really cool.
The amount of detail that goes into them. I mean, they have like they had for Origins, they had 3 Egyptologists and 2 ancient Greek experts telling them exactly how to ancient Greek architectural experts how to build all the naï and all the. So it was really, really interesting to work on that, apart from our usual children's stuff,
And that pretty much that lives on forever, It's like all over the world. You could walk into a random house in Idaho and you could hear your music coming out of the TV. Like it's everywhere. That's incredible.
It shows you the detail. It shows you the details. Even these gamer companies go to make it as authentic as they can.
Yeah.
Because they want to be the best, because these things make billions of dollars, and I know people are so in tune with that. But I wanted to ask you guys, because I know you guys go to Greece a lot, and do you find when you go to Greece, is there ever a time sometimes, or anywhere, I should say, not just Greece, that you get inspired for something? Like both of you, like, I mean, do you ever find sometimes you're sitting maybe by a mountain or maybe in a village or whatever? Do you ever find, because I find when you go to Greece, for me as a comic, I find just talking to the Greeks, I can write an hour material after a month.
Yeah.
Because the reactions they have to you. But I wonder, because a lot of people, because here everybody always talks about their inspirations, right?
Yeah.
So they're going, I felt inspired. Like I'll give an example. My wife's a big Garth Brooks fan.
Oh,
I know who Garth Brooks is. I know who he is. I go, man, country western. And I got to tell you, I for her birthday a couple of years ago, I took her to the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas. I got lucky. I got 2 tickets. I know she likes them. It's my wife. Of course, I'm going to go. After watching this guy for 3 hours, I realized this guy was talented. Like he came out with a guitar and jeans. And I go, what's the big deal about this guy? But this guy, I watched him and thought, holy shit, this guy's amazing. Like talking to the crowd, talking about his growing up in Oklahoma. His mother was into the blues. His dad was in the country. Do you or Dimitri, Maria, do you ever find sometimes, is there anything you watch sometimes that maybe inspires you, like other performers or Big Zero, like, I mean, something like that?
well, a lot of our music, our colleagues, not colleagues, it was cenography,
colleagues,
friends, and
Yeah.
we work together. They're from Greece, so
Yeah.
Nice.
I guess that they inspire us for sure.
But I know you inspire them. I know you inspire them
We
because I've been
collaborate
reading.
a lot with Greek, but
Yeah.
in Greece we have a constant collaboration. So and we go there often. Yes, we get inspired by the aura of Athens, of Greece, of the islands, musically. But also it's a hoot to be in Greece. Just asking for a question and getting this is great every time. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's
That
perfect.
sums it up.
That sums it up. But we got inspired. We got inspired a lot from our visits to the States. I remember we got inspired, and we always wanted to visit the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
That was our biggest highlight when we went to Washington. Not only because for what it symbolized, freedom, which goes back to ancient Greece and democracy.
That's right.
So we walked into that building and we got that same shiver as walking into the Parthenon. And then when I visited Boston, I was greatly inspired by Boston University music faculty, where a great Greek taught there. Adoniou, he's Thodoros Adoniou is a contemporary classical composer. He taught at Boston University all his life. And I had met him in Athens before, and then when I went to Boston when I was very young, in my 20s, I drove there. And I was inspired by the fact that a Greek was having such a huge career and such an influential career in a prime institute of music, that is the Boston University of Boston Music Faculty. So I mentioned these 2 cities because Fotios and it's from there, and because we want to say that every city has something to offer, every country has something to offer to you in terms of musical inspiration.
But being of a Greek heritage is an advantage. We started this company, actually, our caption was promoting Hellenic music. And that's how the company started too. So we said, okay, we'll in order to kick off our careers, we have to build it. And so,
Bravo.
And being of Greek heritage actually was an advantage. I said, okay, nobody has this culture, this language, or knows it better than I do. So let me take advantage of this. And this is how I got more involved in my community, conducting choirs, even teaching elderly how to sing better, and being, of course, younger than most of them. I mean, I felt special too, and pampered, and hey, Maria, to soprano, to Aidoni tis parikias. So I felt special and honored, and so I owe a lot of my career to the Greek community, and I got a lot of exposure because schooling is limited too, right? So having your own community support and doing all these concerts and having an audience there for you, that really.
You guys in the I wanted to ask in the States, and I guess it depends on the state, but in the public schooling system, is music part of the curriculum, or is it something that they has to be done outside or extra?
It used to be part of a standard curriculum.
If I can comment to Dimitri's question is, both of my children are in public schools, elementary level, and music is not a part of it. And we pay for my oldest to actually take music lessons with a private entity.
But is that because of COVID, or is that just how it is now?
No, just how, well, at least where we live, that's how it is. Art is part of the curriculum. Music is part of that it's not as structured like the private sector is.
That's a shame, because growing up in music classes that are standard in public schools in Boston, very, very, very fond memories of just all those music classes that we took. So much fun, so entertaining, so like we love learning about it. We love playing instruments. We love it. It was, I think it's very important for the development. I mean,
Look at ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, what were the subjects that were taught? Mathematics, literature, drama, music, and athletics.
Science.
Exactly.
Yeah, but music was on equal footing with the others. You know,
right? Because it's funny you say that. My daughter takes that violin in first grade. They're taking violin.
That's a hard.
And now she plays trumpet. I thought the dog was farting the other day. Like, because she's at home, right? I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And she's learning, and it's too bad we weren't in Montreal. I would send her to your program.
Wonderful. I would love to have her.
It'd be great because she's always interested in it.
Yeah, yeah.
But did you guys ever see the movie Whiplash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now Hollywood, remember the guy at the drums and going over and his hands are bleeding, and it showed the extreme of perfection, right? And that movie, a lot of people were disturbed. Now, do you find now that because you work with so many kids, you know, I think it's not like when we were growing up.
No, Spagnaris are more.
Spagnaris and stuff. Pasatopexis, you know, like it's so funny now. You know what I mean, guys? Like I find even for myself now, I gotta be like I do. You have to discuss things with your kids, just like our parents did. Right? And now it's like, honey, maybe in a half an hour when you feel like it, do you want to put that away? You know, no, I don't. So do you find now that are we more, is our generation now more aware of this, guys? I mean, even working with the kids, because I know, because Hollywood loves to sensationalize these things, right? Like Whiplash again, you know, and then that's how you're going to get good and this and that. And is it, and yes, you have to be committed and you have to do it. But like you said earlier, the kid didn't want to maybe do a certain couple of songs and wanted just something. I'm just doing this because my parents want me to do it.
Yeah, we get.
And I always say this. And my daughter does musical theater in LA, and I always ask her this because we know it's. I go, honey, are you having fun? She goes, yeah. Do you want to do it? Yes. Okay, that's all I need to hear. Because you know, some here you always watch toddlers in tiaras and they're spray painting the kids and they're out dancing. I mean. You don't want to do that to your kids, but at the same time, because I always tell people, we have to encourage the children, but sometimes they don't want to do nothing.
Well, music, it needs definitely discipline. Growing up, too, my father understood, you know, and he would say that to me. He goes, "Okay, I had to push you at sometimes to practice, because being a child, tu instinto, tu selling a pexi, right? It's only normal. So, and how much can you endure practicing? So, but yes, but of course, as a child, you prefer to play. Structure is not something that comes naturally to a child, right? It's only normal. So you need to push the child. And that's why I explained to parents, I said, okay, if you can, yes, it's good to let them, you know, be on their, let them play and have fun. Let them choose if they like to practice, how much they want to practice. But if you find your child needs that push, you should push.
Yeah,
Right.
and this is a question I wanted to ask again, you guys being in the States, because it's very interesting to see. I think it's a global phenomenon, and I wanted your opinion on that one as well. We find that, of course, our generation, I mean, especially Greeks, they could hit us, but I don't like that at all, of course, absolutely. But I think it has swung all the way to the other end, where the teacher is not respected anymore. They do not understand the value of the hours this man or a woman has put into their métier, and you end up with these kids that say, I will have a discussion with my child about how you should be teaching this lesson, and, like and stuff like that, and we're finding this a lot in Quebec. They're finding it a lot in Greece. I don't know. Same there, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's worse here.
I think
it
is. Nadi's right. It is worse here.
If I
his wife
could,
is a teacher, so he could.
Dimitris, my wife is in education as a teacher, and I listen every day about what you.
Great respect. Yeah.
And unfortunately, you are correct. It's a whole different dynamic now, where when we grew up, I had the fear in me that the last thing I wanted to do was to have my teacher be disappointed, so that my parents would embarrassed us.
Yeah.
Now it's the opposite, as you mentioned. Now it's about it's not about the respect for the teacher. It's all about the feelings of the child and what they bring home, and then the parent has to discuss with the teachers about how can we our child feel better in class.
Yeah.
You see, I know my uncle Mike, Maria's dad, is all about education and supporting things. And I remember growing up with Maria, she's so amazing on the piano and everything. And then my cousin Theo, her brother, who speaks about 10 languages, is living in a hut in Somalia. So, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like, okay, they're both different. They're both brilliant. But it was so amazing because your dad's very patient. He's such a patient man. And I think to be a parent and to look at your kids now, you really have to have patience of steel. And I think what happens, the whole discussion thing was Spaita Nevra, right? Because I think that's just a Greek thing. And I remember even here, I was at the school, so I had to go pick up my daughter the other day. This is California. And I'm at Colfax. All the parents are Hollywood parents, whatever. I'm standing there, and his mother comes up to me. Hi, where's Alina? Oh, she's not here today. Oh, yeah. Did you hear what happened in recess? I go, no, what happened? Oh, Kyle pushed Connor, and then Connor fell into Alex. And okay. And she goes, well, we're gonna have a conference call to discuss. I go, hey, let the kids work it. I go, so I'm that school, right? They're like, they'll work it out. What's this call? They have they have conference calls to discuss what happened in the schoolyard. I go, they'll work it out. Why are you guys getting involved? The mothers, the helicopter moms.
Yeah.
They're not letting the kids learn coping mechanisms at all.
Right.
There was an actual documentary in CBC here saying that mothers nowadays, they even negotiate salaries when their kids get jobs. Way into their 20s, they call the boss to negotiate salaries for the kids. It's unbelievable how far this has gone.
So
my sister worked for Tufts University, which is a pretty high up there university, and she worked for the economics department. And she told me that whenever like 90% of the students, if they had a problem with a professor, if they had a problem with a test, the parent would call to see if they could make up the test or if they could explain why their kid had an issue. And my sister's like, why is the parent calling? Like, these kids are supposed to be trained for real life, and they can't even call to discuss something with their professor. It's like, it's ridiculous.
You do it.
Things have changed, Hadi, because when I got thrown out of school, my discipline was, you're going to come work in the restaurant. That's he said. 2 weeks in the restaurant, I was screaming to go back to school. Because it was like, I don't want to stay here. So it's
I think
bananas.
that's the best way to learn. Right there, what you
But that's what
just
I'm
said.
saying. You can't, not
Uh,
anymore.
No,
Those days are done, I
those
think. You
days
gotta
are
be very
gone.
careful.
I remember a friend of mine too. He goes, I'm traumatized. I go, what's wrong, George? I'll never forget. My dad, he goes up to the teacher. Look, my son, you don't listen, you hit him on the head. Pop. He goes, oh my God, because I was so embarrassed and traumatized to this day. So yes, I mean, parents back then, they took the teacher's side and
Yeah.
yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore. This is well. Look, so guys, the hour went by so fast, man.
Yeah,
This is
I
indeed.
know. We
And
trailed-
once,
really
once
awesome.
it's over, we're gonna miss you guys.
No, I know.
Yeah.
And before, it was. Thank you so much for coming on today. This was
we
really
thank
good.
you.
I got
We
Yeah.
thank
know so much about you
Mari,
guys.
Forti, and
If people want to find out more about you, and after I'm going to pass you on to Forti and then Nadi, where can they look? What's the website they can look for? Because we have our viewers are all around the world, so we're gonna
wonderful.
give us your.
Yeah, the website is called chromapanharmonia.com. It's kind of a big name, but I can send it to you guys, and they can find
Right.
all the projects we've done, all our educational activities, the voice camps, the book CD projects, the musicals in schools. Like we did also that. We direct musicals in schools. We did Grease in Garden View Elementary. And they were so avant-garde there that they even left the pregnancy scare of Rizzo inside the actual play. So
Wow.
I'll never
Wow.
forget
Yeah.
and we sent the script to all the parents. They said, "Oh, it's okay, you can leave it in." So I'll never forget when the two characters, Rizzo and Kaniki, was a 5th grader and a 6th grader, and our stage director, who's a RCMP officer, and she was also a stage director, put them in front and says, "Okay, you had unprotected sex with him, and you think you're pregnant." You can see the faces of the kids changing of 500 colors, you know. But yeah, so yeah, they can go to the site and they can find all the projects that we have done and how they
Awesome.
can contact with us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Forti has a few questions that we like to ask all our guests.
Sure.
Turn it over
Yeah.
to you, Forti.
So before we get into the questions, I just wanted to personally thank Dimitri Maria for spending time with us. This was amazing. Angela, always, you bring amazing guests to our platform. I want to commend you on all the work that you've done. Listening to you has been an honor and a blessing to be able to connect with you. We definitely want to continue featuring what you do through all of our platforms. We can talk about that off air with Ari. I
You guys are
definitely
the best.
our network to know what you're doing, for sure. And one thing, I mean, obviously, Maria, we know that you're related to Angelo, so your background from Greece, you know, we know basically Angelo's background is from partly Mytilene, partly Sparti, if I'm not mistaken. But Dimitri, where is your background in Greece, or are you born in Greece and just have spent time here in Canada?
I was born in Montreal because my father had a diplomatic post here for 5 years. So I was born in Montreal, but when I was 3 years old and his post finished, we went back to Greece. I grew up in Greece, finished Lyceum in Athens, and then I came back to Montreal to study music at the university because at the time there was no music in the university level in Athens. And then I stayed ever since I was 19 years old. And Maria was the first musician I met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hooked him.
Yeah.
So, you know, as Greeks from the diaspora, we all have interesting experiences and we have interesting memories, but everything, you know, for all of us together, you know, we all share a common connection to our culture. Food happens to be an important part of our culture.
Ah.
So, you know, as Greeks in Canada, Greek Canadians, can you tell us real quick your favorite and least favorite Greek food?
Oh my
go
gosh,
first.
my pasticcio. Okay, that's my favorite food. Oh, my least favorite food. Horta.
Oh,
Oh no, excuse me.
I agree.
No. Well, yeah, but not all, like Vlita, not all, but
okay.
the dandelion weeds that my mother would feed us. And we cry. And I'd say, what did we do wrong? Why are you feeding us dandelion weeds? And she goes, Mom, that's poison, you know? So
See, there's another universal trait of Greeks, no matter where you're from, no matter where you grew up. We hear this from Greeks everywhere.
oh, really?
Πάντα θα έχεις μια θεία να μαζεύει χόρτα, Yeah, I know. It's like...
And patsa, sorry, and patsa.
Yeah.
In Mytilene, when I went to Mytilene, there was a patsia, what do you call those shops? This sells
Patadiko.
yes. And I'll never forget the gentleman who owned it had one glass eye. It was from a war injury.
Whoa.
And I walked in, I got so traumatized, first with the stench of patsa, and this man went right in front of my face, Pelete patsa, madame. And there was like this glass eye just glaring at me. I said,
Whoa.
no, I'll pass. You can
McDonald's, you have what to do.
yeah, where's McDonald's?
Yeah.
And what about
for me,
me
my favorite Greek food as kitsch and I don't know, I can think is the classic Greek souvlaki, but the one you get in Greece, just the pita, the gyro, tzatziki, onions, tomatoes,
Oh, yeah.
the red pepper, nothing else.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. My least favorite is bamyes, which I feel like I'm eating like
What is your expression? You like or dislike bamyes?
I just had bami last night.
Oh, I love that.
I can't stand them. I feel like I'm eating like Klingon food. I just can't, you know, like those are my worst. Yeah.
It's interesting to hear this because obviously we touch upon Greeks from around the world, and it's funny to listen to the likes and dislikes among all of us. And bamyes happens to kind of creep up on that list of dislikes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Next question. As Greeks abroad, growing up in a Greek household, our parents instilled a lot of values in us because they wanted us to be a certain way and make sure that we do the right thing. But we also were subject to a lot of Greek sayings from our parents. Any Greek sayings that really stick with you have stayed with you as growing up in a Greek household that maybe you can share with us that are
Greek saying, like
Angelo does a lot of these during his performances as our moms and dads.
Like the Matyasu the Katesera, where we have all those kind of things.
Well, I was always a finicky eater. Well, I'm finicky. I mean, I'm junk food eater. So growing up in a house, like every day was a different meal. And but some of the time I liked the dishes. My mom was an awesome cook, but some of the dishes were like this way off my, my palate at that time, so my mother would, I said, she goes, fato, η κοιλιά δεν έχει παράθυρα. So what that?
Oh, I like that.
I never heard that one.
That's an original.
Yeah.
That's original.
Η κοιλιά, το στομάχι δεν έχει παράθυρο. And it's like, what? She talking about?
That's funny.
Like, no matter
That's
what
good.
you eat, it's food, so it doesn't matter how it looks like or what just eat it. Yeah.
That's a good one.
One of my sayings that my mother would say a lot of the times was there's two of them that she used a lot. One of them had to do with when you don't have the right to judge somebody else, and she would say this expression. That means the donkey said to the rooster, "Oh, you have a big head," So that's
like
look who's talking.
Look who's calling the kettle black.
The kettle black.
Yeah. That's good.
Similar to that is another one that she would say, and that is "Κύλησε ο τέτζερης και βρήκε το καπάκι." So τέτζερης is one of those big tapsia where they
a cauldron? No.
Like a cauldron, and it's similar, like look who's talking kind of thing. Like it rolled and it found the kapaki, which is the katsarola kapaki, which are similar and what they are, So she would use that. And when it came to singing, because there was a lot of singing in the household, whenever my mother did not like a particular singer in Greece, she would call them "Aftine more karakaidona." So there.
Oh, that's Ari's new nickname. I like that. I like that.
Oh, you approve, Ari?
So many Greek things. It's unbelievable. But the last question that I want to leave with all of us, Dimitri, Maria, is, as Greeks, we are super superstitious. The way we grow up, the way we do things. Are there any superstitions that you still live by today that you share with us? Obviously, the one big thing that we all have come across is tomati, right? Everyone still believes in the mati. That's a big part of our culture, not faith, but culture, in my opinion. Is there anything that maybe you still live by that you catch yourself saying, I still
or
saying or practicing?
Or practicing, yeah. Okay, this is really strange what I'm going to say, but because I perform a lot, and as my mother always forced me,
Yes.
You know that one?
Yes.
I've heard of that one.
It's a Mitilineico thing, Maria. I think it's because that's like to take off the mati from you.
I did.
My mom would say that too. Forto vrakiso anapoda. Like, what are we challenged? Why would we do that? But you're right. They say they do that, Maria, to take the eye off.
Oh, right.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
So of course, yeah. I'm not superstitious, but I am. I don't know. So I would do that.
So if anybody sees you performing, they could bank on the fact that your underwear is on backwards.
Yeah, as long as they don't have X-ray vision.
For everyone who watched the show, can now picture Maria wearing her underwear outside. Yeah.
I do it, guys, because I don't like doing the laundry. So to throw an apple upside down.
You do get superstitious. Yes, but what if?
Yeah.
What if it works? In my case, I think because our parents went through World War II, and my parents lived through that war, because my father died 5 years ago, and he lived through the war, and my mother as well, and in Athens, where there was a famine. So my mother has a superstition of never. It's more serious, fine, not as fine. So my mother would never, ever allow us to throw bread away.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
so that
one
was kept in the house. It was sacred, and it was considered sacrilege to throw away bread.
Yeah.
So
It makes sense though. I mean, you go through something like that, and that's funny how that stays with us. Like that stays with us.
That was ingrained in us as children, even like here in this time. We still learned that very much.
My point to our questions is, even though we are progressive and we live in modern times, and we say that we still find ourselves or catch ourselves doing things that were instilled in us as kids.
It anchors us, doesn't it, Foti? It anchors us to something much more solid and much more important than all this fakeness that we live today. Like it's very important,
and sometimes my kids will catch me doing certain things and ask me, why am I doing that? And I don't really have an answer, only because I say to myself, well, that's what I was subject to growing up as a kid.
Would you show them that though? Would you teach them?
Yeah, I mean, I try to explain to them. They're still young. I try to explain that to them because living in different times, and sometimes they just look at me with a blank stare.
Trust me, do this. It means.
Yeah, right. But this is great. For us, the whole segment is about us as Greeks around the world and connecting together and still sharing our stories and memories and who we are. No matter where we're from and what we do in life, there's still something that connects us, and it's our no matter where we're from.
Yeah, We greatly appreciate your time, and thanks you so much for being with us.
Thank you guys.
What an
That was
amazing show
amazing.
you
Yeah,
have.
we're
Connecting
so honored.
Greeks. It's
Thank
so
you.
so cool and interesting. We saw with Pablos the other.
Yeah, what an
Other
amazing
broadcast.
musician. Wow.
Yeah,
We didn't know
Great.
that, Will. Yeah.
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 Yeah, we use Angelo for all his connections, so
Yeah.
it works out. It works out well.
And
if you no, I mean us too. If you want to contact us, I know Foti, you're into wine. You're a connoisseur with my brother. My brother is is a sommelier.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he has a
Oh,
wine.
wow.
Yeah, he has a wine company, and he travels to Greece a lot and
Oh, nice.
cards and so he has his
Well,
own
we
company.
definitely love to drink. Let me tell you that.
He loves
Yeah.
to drink. Unfortunately, we don't like wine, so don't hiss at us. No,
Uh-oh.
I know. I'm sorry.
I always like drinking vintage Diet Coke.
The only wine I do like is I like to wine. Why can't I go to Florida?
You
Well,
know what the
listen.
secret? You know what the secret to enjoying wine is? You keep drinking it, and the more you drink, the better it gets.
Probably. I'm sure. It's good for you. It's good for you. I know. My father
Well-
wanted me to drink it as a Greek. See, Greeks are cool. You're 10 years old and your father.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Or if your kids are acting up, you give them a little bit of this and then they go to bed.
Steve Poro.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys so much
Thank
once
you so
again.
much.
You
We
guys were
appreciate
amazing.
you taking the time.
Awesome.
We will link up all your information in the podcast, in the video, on the app. It'll be everywhere. I'm sure we will cross paths again. I'm sure we will have you on the show again.
Yeah.
And as always, I want to thank Dimitri, Maria. I want to thank Angelo. I want to thank Foti. I want to thank all the viewers, the listeners out there. We love you guys. We appreciate you listening and watching. And we are going to do it again next time. Stay tuned. And thank you again. Have a good night, everybody.
Let's meet in
That's
Greece.
guys.
Woohoo!
Thanks, guys.
Bye, yeah.
Bye-bye.